땡아차게 남세미자 긴도세 제가지 마니모세 남주 신기 남주 이메세 도나 출루도 준비하세 아니 랍랍사 이와 가지고 뭐나 자 My topic is about students' brain during learning. Let us look at the story. The story is about the three clients. And the three clients, they plan to go to bank for their own purpose, and we know exactly why do we go to bank. So the client number one, he goes to the bank, and please observe the client's appearance, starting from his the hairstyle, what is actually carrying, and also his dress code. Now he's outside the bank, and we immediately know what is going to happen next. He need to face the guard. So, and also we know what is going to happen next. He won't be entertained inside because of his appearance as well as the shabby look he have. So in short, the result is he gets nothing. Then let us look at the client number two. Then this client's the dress up. Everything is fine except for his facial expression. So the guard won't restrict him from entering the bank, but what is going to happen is he's going to meet the manager. Now the question is, where would the manager direct him? Because of his expression, because of his the way he interact with the manager. So he would be ushered or directed to the lower chamber, and where he would get all the responses that he has already given. Because there is a term, we human beings are copycat. If I smile and give you rose, I'm sure you would also smile back. If I show my fist, you would do the same. So he got the same response from the manager. Then we have client number three. So this client number three, well dressed up, the body gesture, the expression, everything is fine. So no restriction from the guard. Even the manager is happy because human beings, they are copycat. So the manager ushers him to the upper chamber where the client number three gets what he really wanted. So that's the end of the story. And now the application part. So we are going to use the same story in understanding the student's brain while learning. So the application number one here, the bank, we can take it as the brain, the guard as RAS, and it's going to come later, and the client number one as noise. Just like the client number one, we might be teaching so much, we might be putting our effort in convincing students that whatever we are teaching is very important. But to student, they might take it as noise. And the guard, it's just there. It's not letting the client enter in. And that guard is known as RAS, which is termed as reticular activating systems. So why RAS? This is the sole reason we can point out why students they do not listen. Why our effort, everything that we put on students' plate does not get digested. Why every time we sell our lecture to the students, why they do not buy? So that is RAS. And why should the brain have RAS? We all know that our brain have only one primary rule, that the brain will not negotiate. The first priority rule of the brain is to save energy, because unlike other organs, brain do not have any other areas where they can keep their energies for their later use. So whatever they get, they use it. So for that reason, the brain need to save energy. And only out of 100% of the information that students receive through visual, through auditory, or let it be through touch, only one person gets registered similar. So RAS is only going to let 1% of the information that students receive. That's the reason why we think our student is inactive. And we should not blame, I guess, I'm sure we should not blame. As the diagram shows, here the green colored thing, which is the brain stem, here we have a group of nerves which act as RAS, and it acts as a filter. So if the information is important, then the RAS will let the information get into the brain. If it is not important, it directly rejects. For example, the birds, the noise created by the birds is not interfering what I'm saying right now, because you are rejecting, the RAS in your brain is rejecting the noise. And you have been sitting for so long, the nerves ending in our abdomen might be giving you some information, but you are not interested. That is, RAS is rejecting, because it is not useful for us. Unless you have wound, unless you have pain, and I'm sure even the stomach, I think, is giving you signal, and for that reason, I'm sure you would be attending to it. And moreover, our sugar level is low, so I would not try to interfere there. So now the application number 2, let us go to this. The manager as amygdala. This is I'm not presenting anything new here, just the old thing. I'm just trying to refresh it. So amygdala here acts as the manager in the brain, where it switches the station. So amygdala is very important for us. Now to understand it better, let us go to application number 3. So the client number 2 here, which acted as stress or urgency. So he was ushered to the chamber number 2, the lower chamber, which we call it hindbrain. And the client number 3, which had just the opposite characteristics of client number 2, was ushered to the upper chamber, which is called forebrain. So this is where we always target, as our presenter, the previous presenter, everyone, they talked about the forebrain, the response given by the students from the forebrain. And whatever we does not desire the students to execute, they come from the hindbrain. Now what is this forebrain and hindbrain? We all know that. We always have been using this. We always described so many times. Now this is because the amygdala gave all the response, all the information to the hindbrain, whereby through the hindbrain, the person acted out like the animal character, which we do not desire. Had it been the manager sent all the information to the forebrain, I'm sure we would receive the pleasant results. Then what about this? Who could be this? Client number 2. Sometimes it is ourselves. I still vividly remember, I was studying in class 1. I could not write Dzongkha handwriting, the Dzongkha alphabet, very neat and clean. So I was literally shocked, and then I was about to be thrown from the second story building. So that was the client number 2. So, and then we also do the same. Then tomorrow, the students, they will come up with the homework. They will come with good handwriting. They will learn more. But where are they learning? They are learning from the hindbrain, animal brain, reptilian brain. They are learning from the hindbrain. They are not learning from the thinking. That is upper chamber. Forebrain learn me very well. Now, to make sure that students learn from the forebrain, I think we have seen this diagram for a lot of times. Mula. So you have forebrain, you also have the midbrain, and then you have the hindbrain. So the manager resides here in the midbrain. So whatever information we receive, if it is stressful, if it is urgent, if we are pressurized, if we are threatened, then all the information, all the responses goes to the hindbrain. So whereby we show the animal characters. But if the information is very familiar to student, if it is what the student really wants to learn, then it goes to the forebrain, where student begins to develop the higher thinking orders. So the summary, if our teaching could be like the client number 3, much more familiar, predictable, valuable, achievable, and chunked. Now I would like to just again bring back the psychologists, the name of some psychologists. Familiar, predictable, valuable. We can think about our Jean Piaget. He talks about schema. So whatever students has already learned, so based on that, students make connection. So unless and until, if we make our lesson familiar, predictable for the students, and also valuable, all the information is going to go to the hindbrain. Then we also know ZPD mola, zone of proximal development mola, Levosky, I guess. So he talks about the achievable, where the students have a gap, so whereby our teacher act as facilitators. Then lastly, number 5 the information is to be chunked. It's to be made very small, digestible. Otherwise, if we teach students with multiple theories, multiple new terms at a time, I'm sure students won't be able to digest. And then at the end, we would see students giving response from the hindbrain. Then number B, let us try to remove this tag, inattentive tag from the students. We always blame students. Actually, it is the system that they have in their brain, RAS. Unless we make our lessons enter through the RAS system of their brain, students won't be attentive. Ngachakin amsemita gindose, chekachi manyemose, namcho shingi namcho imese, dona chulu do zumbese. Ani lab sa iwa ngachakin mola. Sa ani di remove besuvachin. Daru sosuchi shugela nalu. Dachiki stress be mola. Ngacha peshetem the dango se, do tengo silamidi. That is extrinsic motivation. We have been brought up with the same system. And sometimes we thank our, especially, ani namse bahas mela, zonghalebi namse thank bengwala because zonghalebi namse jan dundige taringa ana gosan ani thopchi se rulu namse debe ani proud be share bini the zonghalebi me jemilebi ke debra jan dundige drotini dige debe nahichi the nahib dalu. Now we should ask ourselves, was that intrinsic? Did it come from our inside, or did it came from outside? Otherwise, we would always expect someone to come and push us. Mola, do you utter extrinsic motivation to good dola? Kadem chive uzin lobdana majuvachin. That live gara indigi. Uzin lobdana majuvachin. Pesha matenu to nimso develo labrutuk. Kadem chive uzin judevachin. Taven lobkhana jugomarese. Ani be live dakpachi ila. Lebe uzin juru majuru. Lobkhana jura jugo, pesha tera dengo. That is intrinsic motivation. So if we upbring our future citizen through extrinsic motivation, then they would also become just like us, waiting for the extrinsic motivation to push us, unless it comes from our inside. Mula. Then number 3, students could be helped by informing about the brain, how they learn. Ngachagi alugi brain connection gikole ngacha mam gira makimmi. And I'm sure a few of our friends already reminded through practice. Through practice they learn. Yes, there are three things through how students learn. URA. URA sedula. Urgency. Dele sosodi ngachagi repetition. Dele associations. The urgency they also do then they sense threat in their body, threat in their brain. That's why they learn. But this learning comes with emotions. It doesn't come with a narrative that we really want. They were the repetition, association. I think is much favorable than urgency. So they were research they were done. The Tanimchi nalu shudalu. Three clients. I'm sure we would really love to become client number 3. But to become client number 3, to enter to the brain of students, I think if we could apply this, I'm sure there will be some positive response. So with this, I would love to end with a quote from His Majesty. The future will reflect what we do today. With this, thank you.